There's no way I'm going to get through this video without having to address the elephant in the room, so I'm doing it right now.
The fact that I have a completely masculine voice and yet choose to have a female OC. Oh, wait, no, that would be silly to discuss. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's continue.
Horse news are a bunch of fucking hacks.
Whoa there! I had no idea. You mean horse news shouldn't be taken seriously?
Full of outrage over outrage culture that blows a lot of instances of supposed SJW whining extremely out of proportion.
Okay. I cannot stand the narrative that the term SJW is simply a boogeyman created by the evil patriarchy. Because clearly it's never happened. There hasn't been anyone who's been attempting to, create a false narrative by cherry picking information and basically going all over the internet saying that they are 100% right and just throwing blanket assumptions out, because that would be silly to assume such a thing, right?
Case in point, when Brotherhood Social came out, less than 50 people expressed distaste about DHX Media making use of the tired guy in a dress played for laughs cliche, and then Horse News swooped in like the carrion birds they are to screenshot and compile as many posts as they could to make it seem like an outdated instance of watchdog groups trying to police the airwave.
How dare Horse News point something out that is bad?
It was bullshit, and a textbook case of a media site, and I use the term extremely loosely, manufacturing outrage to pretend to be sneeringly dismissive about in between writing flagrantly false articles about anybody they can.
I don't know. Maybe that would be a sign that a website is a joke?
So congratulations, 4chan, your obsessive desire to be offended by other people existing has created your own boogeyman. Again.
Hey, look at this. Okay, Lily here is attempting to illustrate that basically the SJW does not exist, and then shows a picture of literally the biggest SJW that exists. Does that make sense? Because it doesn't to me. I mean, could you imagine how stupid it would be if I said how stupid people are who believe in UFOs, and then the very next picture I showed was a UFO hovering right over my house? That would be pretty stupid.
I myself have skipped episodes for far less logically sound reasons than this.
It's kind of hard to take someone as a reviewer analysis person seriously when the episode that they chose to ignore is Raiders of the Lost Mark.
And the last thing I would want is for my reasonable objection to be co-opted not your shield style by these loathsome little toads.
Oh, she did it. Oh, make fun of Gamergate. Oh, man. Oh, that's so funny, because SJWs that don't even exist would never make fun of something like Gamergate,
First of all, let's not make the false equivalency that anybody who cross-dresses is instantly a trans person. People will cross-dress for a variety of reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with their gender identity.
So what you're saying here, well, let me see if I can grasp this concept. If I can wrap your super smart intelligence around my feeble little brain. Essentially, you're saying that not everyone cross-dresses because they're trans, yet you're trying to justify that it's not transphobic.
I don't think a lot of people would look at Mrs. Doubtfire, a film about a man who disguises himself as a sweet little old English lady just so he can spend time with his kids, being some metaphor for gender identity.
Yes, because he was trying to disguise himself, but whatever.
Likewise with Tootsie.
Never seen it.
So from this point, we're going to do something that comes naturally to a lot of critics, but doesn't come as naturally to the casual viewer.
Shower your massive intelligence upon those of us who have our feeble little brains and don't understand the complexity of an animated show basically designed for 5-year-olds.
We're going to analyze very small, likely missed character interactions and the implicit meanings they carry.
Okay, I want to point out, he's talking about very small character interactions that prove him right.
Ready to get really freaking pretentious? Oh boy, do I hope so.
Oh, that's adorable. That's adorable when a critic calls themselves pretentious and then makes it a joke. That's fun. That's hilarious. I'm laughing.
First of all, it's very obvious that Equestria is female-centric.
Yeah, I wonder who else did a video about this.
So while Equestria is likely not as hostile to stallions as Earth is to women...
Oh yes, because we all know that one single picture is supposed to point out the fact that the world is ruled by an evil patriarchy and all women are objectified and treated like shit. Because we all know that there's never, ever any objectifications towards males in today's society.
Lauren Faust was very feminist and also not a very good writer.
Oh, wow. Pretentious, to the extreme!
And works designed from that perspective and skill set tend to treat men with a certain so-what attitude as a method of pushing back against the rest of pop culture, doing the exact opposite.
Now, also, this could also be the fact that a person is attempting to write while not proving that the opposite of what they're trying to write about is bad, but emphasize the strength of what they are trying to write about. I mean, that could be it. Maybe she just doesn't adhere to your standards of feminism, ma'am.
But do you ever notice that the judges and the staff didn't say anything? Despite knowing all along that Big Mac wasn't a mare? If there was ever a time to bring up the fact that obviously brothers are allowed in, this would be it. And yet they didn't.
This is interesting because she's talking about focusing on the little interactions that would have easily been missed by other people. But yet she chooses to completely ignore the little interaction that would have basically proven her point wrong. This is called cherry picking, and I hate people who cherry pick.
But if you're a socially conscious and responsible person, you're likely going to refrain from doing so because
if you want to prove SJWs don't exist, maybe you should stop acting like the very thing you're trying to prove doesn't exist.
What if? And if that niggling doubt turns out to be true, the moment the words, "Sir, you don't need to," leave your mouth, you have just committed a massive faux pas.
Yes, because we all know such a thing would never blow up in the face, when you're not surrounded by SJWs. Oh, I forgot those don't exist. Oh, pardon me.
I'm both a critic and a writer who prides herself on her character designs and character interaction.
What the fuck is this? I've never seen this character before. I don't know. Could you post a link to some proof that you are a writer? I don't know. Is this something you drew? I don't know. Maybe you could prove something. You're all like, I pride myself in my artwork and my creations and my writing. I don't know. I'm an artist too, but I wouldn't sit there and say well, I'm an artist and not, who prides myself in, drawing a female form and then not show evidence of it. But okay, whatever, yo.
It's my job to notice little details like that and put them into implicit context.
And yet you're choosing to ignore the very ones that would prove you wrong. Good job, Lily. Good job.
And I know for a fact that a lot of trans people simply have no patience for the guy in a dress played for Lasky.
Oh, look! He's making fun of Kill What Kill's outfit! Oh, that's so genius! I mean, let's just ignore the fact that it happens to every character in the series, both male and female. Let's ignore the fact, that essentially the series is completely over the top, overblown, has ridiculously designed costumes, outfits, and everything else. But oh no, let's show this one picture and basically count it as bad. But hey, whatever, right?
For every Tootsie or Mrs. Doubtfire, which uses the trope for clever reasons and are often a lot smarter in their humor, there are a dozen half-assed excuses for humor trotting out the trope for cheap and lazy shock value.
Oh, look at this. Dozens of examples. Which ones does she show? She shows one picture from South Park.
Fact is, if you get punched in the face every time the doorbell rings and in the evening someone knocks on your door to explain it's not really about the punching, you're gonna have a hard time believing them.
What the fuck are you talking about? Oh my god.
Fatigue is a very real and tangible thing, and I have never been able to fault anybody passing on any creative work on the basis of personal experience.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm getting some fatigue from this video here. I'm just saying, maybe I should skip it.
That's what personal experience is for. Have you ever read The Boy Who Cried Wolf?
Way to prove your point there, Lily. I feel totally educated. I'm so glad that we have your massive intelligence to enlighten those of us with our itty-bitty little brains who don't understand much. Thank you.